Good afternoon, good evening, and we're going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Matt, would you like to lead us?
Yes, I will. Ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you'd like to remain standing, we have Pastor Nick Foley. Good evening.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, council members. Thank you. It's an honor to be here tonight. Jesus, I want to come to you this evening in prayer for the 29 Palms City Council meeting. I want to thank you tonight for this beautiful city of 29 Palms, for its vibrant spirit, for the deep sense of community that thrives in the high desert home. We praise you for the wonderful ways the city already shines a light, lifting up its people and caring for neighbors in need. We thank you for the open doors and the welcoming hearts of this leadership in this city, which allows organizations like mine to step forward and serve. We are truly grateful for the privilege to reach out to the vulnerable, to love the unreachable, and to bring hope where it is much needed. Lord, tonight we lift up the lost, the homeless, and the ones that aren't in this meeting, Lord, those trapped in addiction in our community. We pray that they would get sick and tired of being sick and tired, break through the heavy chains, stir their hearts, and give them a deep desire to find a way out and walk in a new life. Tonight, we also lift up our local businesses and business owners. We ask that you bless their hard work, grant them prosperity, and help them thrive. We pray for the new families starting lives out here in the desert. May they find true peace, safety, and a deep sense of belonging in this special place. We lift up our brave Marines, the Marine families, and all of our first responders who sacrifice daily to keep us safe. Shield them, strengthen them, and bless their households. Lord, we ask a special blessing upon our city leaders tonight. Grant them divine guidance, supernatural wisdom, and clear discernment for every decision they face tonight. We pray that this meeting is led entirely by your sovereign hand. We ask that any spirit of division, chaos, or ill intent be completely stopped by your powerful hand, leaving room only for peace, order, and progress in here tonight. Knit our hearts together, our city officials, our churches, our military, our first responders, our businesses, and our citizens in a powerful partnership. May 29 Palms continue to be a place of safety, hope, and transformation. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bildering,
Here.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Here.
Councilmember Wright,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Here.
Mayor Mitz.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. We have no closed session announcements. Any changes to the agenda? None? Okay. Okay, these proceedings will be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website, www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going to our website, clicking on meeting agenda link. Also, there's these register link. It's City of 29 Palms -448. My WebEx and .com. There's all kinds of stuff here you can do now to view it. If you have any questions, just go to our website and it'll take you right to it. So, and especially those of you in the audience, you can do public comment from your house. Okay, awards, presentations, appointments, and proclamations. Engineer update by City Engineer Richard Pedersen.
I want to thank the council and the mayor for this opportunity I have to share with the with the city, all the different projects that the engineering department has been working on the last several years. A lot of the stuff that we do is behind the scenes and is not quite relevant or quite visual as far as what you see out in the field, except for the bridge that is under construction right now. Let's see here. Oh, there you go. I'll go backwards. Okay. So this is a kind of a map that shows all the different projects that we're doing. And we'll go over each one, and I'll try to do so in a pretty good pace here, if I can. Am I pointing in the wrong direction? Okay, back to that one. Just a little delay here. So this one is called the Safe Routes to School Project, El Paseo Drive all the way to Adobe Road. It's kind of the location map where we're working on sidewalks, bike paths, bike lanes, connecting the high school to Adobe Road. And there's also the Class 2 on Adobe Road, which will connect to our existing path on the Channel Trail. The next one is, oh yeah, so that's where it's located. Just that one slide right there shows the green one. Yes, this one actually, it's SBCTA actually funded the design portion of this project. It was a gift to the city of Twentynine Palms, so the city did not pay for any of the design. I think the next slide shows the funding sources. Okay. All right, so this is the description. It cost, so the project itself for construction is $2.3 million. And we submitted a grant application so that we would be 100% funded with ATP funds. We'll find out in December whether or not we got those funds appropriated for this program, for this project. The second project is the Split Rock Avenue Bridge. It's right there in the yellow. So we kind of took a little bit of a cutout that shows where the bridge is. I think many people know where Split Rock Avenue Bridge is. It is currently under construction. This project started in 2014 after we had a serious couple fatalities located at this location. We turned in a grant application. We were approved to construct a brand new bridge, which is really unheard of. They don't construct new bridges anymore. The funds are only used for rehabilitating or reconstructing existing bridges that are in desperate need of repair. So we really were very lucky to get the funds to build a brand new bridge at this location. And it's taken 12 years to get to this point. Okay. Am I pushing the right buttons? Okay, so this is what the bridge looks like as of a couple of weeks ago. I took some more today when I'm here. It's the deck has been poured. Okay, thank you. All right, so the cost of this bridge, the price came in at $3.3 million. It's funded with Measure I as our match, but the bridge program pays 88.53%. We started construction back in January. They said it was going to take until December to build it, and we are actually ahead of schedule, and so we expect it to be done sooner, within a couple months sooner. So we are happy that there was no incidents, no gigantic floods that disrupted the construction of the foundations. There was a couple of weeks that were really critical that luckily didn't cause any damage. What's tied to the bridge is this channel. Now the bridge and the channel were supposed to go out to bid at the same time. And we were on the agenda of Flood Control District to get it approved, the agreement, to put it out to bid at the same time. However, one of the employees at Flood Control didn't like the riprap, so they pulled it, and now we have to redesign it for the second time. And I think the council approved a few months ago the addendum to redesign this channel for flood control. So this shows what the original channel looked like. It was going to have 3 different sizes of rock, and now it's going to be a concrete, smooth channel. It's going to be one solid piece of concrete, a little bit of riprap at the ends. It's in design right now. We have an agreement with Flood Control that they're going to pay for $3.7 million channel. We expect the price to be down because the riprap costs more than a concrete line channel. So we believe that, and it's 100% funded, so the city doesn't have to pay for any match, which is a good thing. And in fact, as Flood Control District reminds us that they've hardly done any flood control district projects in the Morongo Basin in District 6 and or Zone 6, but they want to keep reminding us that this is more money than we would collect in probably a 30-year period. So we should be grateful for that, and it'll make the bridge, the flow underneath the bridge, it'll complete the design, and everything will work perfectly when it's done. So our next project is the Hatch Sullivan Class 2 bike path or bike lane project. So a few years ago, we submitted a grant and said, we want you to pay 100%, and they gave us the money to not only do the environmental, but the design and construction. And you can't really tell, but that's the limits. It's about 2.3 miles. It's going to look like this. We're going to widen Hatch and Sullivan and make it at least, I think it's 44 feet wide, which will include 2 bike lanes. This picture kind of shows that there's like one line between the travel lanes and the bike path. We are actually going to create a little island of striping between the two to give it more, for people to walk and also ride their bicycles and not have to worry about fast-moving traffic adjacent to them. Again, we got $3.47 million to do this project. Right now, it's about 65% complete on the plans, and we had 9 properties that we had to purchase right-of-way from. The right-of-way's been approved, and the offers have been approved, and they're out negotiating with the property owners. Once we get the right-of-way, the design will be designed completely, and we'll put this out to bid as soon as we reach those milestones. Hope to get it out to bid in the spring and have it constructed shortly after that. And by the way, this city is really active in we have a lot of projects. If you compare us to any other cities, we got probably $20-30 million worth of projects that we've been able to develop through grants. Next project is the 62 Street Improvement Project. We call it Phase 2B, and it's right there in the red section between Ensalia and La Rea. About 2013, we came up with a master plan from Ensalia to Split Rock, and we did a $350,000 environmental study that covered NEPA and CEQA. We were planning ahead, and these things take time. I just wanted to emphasize the fact that this project just didn't come up, someone's idea a couple weeks ago or last year. This was probably 13 years in the making. So we got this adopted, and with that plan, we were able to put the sidewalks. Phase 1, you can look at Phase 1 was the sidewalks in front of the Stater Brothers grocery store. We went all the way to La Rea from Ensalia. Didn't have sidewalks before, and now we do. And then a storm kind of washed out a little piece at the channel, and Caltrans is fixing that. But that, again, that was a very large storm. I believe the sidewalk survived, but everything underneath it collapsed. And then Phase 2 was the median. We decided that that was part of this master plan, and we got funds to do that, and we built it. It's been a couple of years. Phase 2B, it's in the same area of Phase 1 and Phase 2, but we want to put sidewalks from the grocery outlet store all the way to into La Rea on the north side of the road. But we have to cross the channel because there's not enough room on the existing box culvert. So we're actually going to we're proposing, instead of widening the box culvert, which would have cost millions of dollars, and also lots of studies and a lot of environmental, it would have taken years to do. We came up with the concept of putting in a separate pedestrian bike path walkway that you can, they're prefabbed, and you just plop them on top of the foundations. I think they're made in Cleveland, Ohio, or something like that, and they're brought in, and we just, with a crane, set them in place. which saves millions of dollars and also meets the intent of our project is to have pedestrians safely walk along the highway on the north side. All right, next project is, the cost of that project, and we got, actually SBCTA is funding the federal portion of the construction of, the total cost is 5.3 million, which includes design, environmental, and right-of-way, and construction. So we were fortunate to get this project allocated to the city of Twentynine Palms. I'm proud to say that we expect it to be under construction. Right now, it's dealing with Caltrans, which is never easy. Permits usually take a year, and we've been working with them for about a year. And again, it's federally funded, so there's a lot more requirements. With the money comes a lot of responsibility and a lot of other issues that it's not easy spending money. Okay, the citywide channel trail. So we built a little trail along the channel from Adobe to Split Rock on the south side of the channel, and it turned out really well. It's kind of the heart of Twentynine Palms. A couple years ago, we thought it was a good idea to design the whole, just take the whole channel on, and it starts up at the 29 Palms Canyon, I believe, and then it goes all the way to Bullion. Anyway, way up to the northeast of the city. It's about 7 miles long. These are design funds only. We submitted the grant application asking for 90% of it. Most cities ask for 50%, but we got bold and said, we want you to pay 90% because we like to spend other people's money before we spend ours. We got it's a $495,000 design. TDA pays for $420,000, and we have to come up with $74,000. So they've been under design for about a year and a half now. Again, we're dealing with flood control district, and a lot of these agencies that are not as local as the city, takes longer time to deal with them. Flood control district wanted a FEMA flood zone no rise study, which cost, and the council approved that extra funds for $50,000. Again, we're still way below the 50% match that other cities had to do, but we had to come up with some more money to meet the requirements of flood control district to do that study. So they're undergoing the study right now to show that when we build a bike path, the flood zone won't raise a foot, and that's takes money and time. But hopefully we'll have this ready for approval, and then we use this study to apply for grants. We'll break it into several sections. We'll do a section at a time because nobody's going to give us $17 million all at once. So we want to kind of build up what we built and be shelf ready. And that's what makes us really competitive. We're pretty good at getting grants. I might want to add that it's always, grants are kind of the lifeline of our city when it comes to building anything of substance. Okay, Lucky Park Sidewalk Project. This is a CDBG project. It basically shows that we're working on building sidewalks around the Lucky Park. It's not really new construction of sidewalk, it's rehabbing existing sidewalks. And I believe that our staff, engineering staff, was able to find a couple $100,000 in CDBG funds from a few years ago, which is another good thing that we'd like to do is find money. I don't think anyone would argue with that. So the construction cost is $130,000. It's just rehabbing existing. Hope to get that started this fiscal year, which could mean all the way until next year. All right, I think we're almost done here. What's the last one? Oh, the wastewater treatment plant at the Phoenix area. So this project's been ongoing for several years. It had some stop and go, and I think there's part of on the agenda today to get that built. As far as construction is concerned, we are working strongly with the gas company and the Edison to get all the hookups going. We're making progress every day to get the utilities hooked up to this new system. And so we've had a kind of a renewed push to get this past the goal line, and I'm really happy that this will be another project that we'll be able to finish. $2.2 million overall. We started in 2024, and hopefully we'll finish this fiscal year. I think that's it. I appreciate your time. I know I've tried to go through as quickly as possible, but covering the important points only. And if you have any more questions about details on any of these projects, I'm more than happy to respond.
Thank you, Richard. Anybody got any questions?
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor, I have a question for the city engineer. You mentioned that Caltrans is currently working on the bridge over by Stater Brothers. Are you able to, that and I believe the flood control district as well, do you know when that update, is there a plan for completion? I mean, or update?
Well, Caltrans is they're not working on the bridge itself. They're just repairing the damage on the flooding that recently happened, not about a year ago, right? It's not that recent. I've had calls into them. We've asked for their set of plans because we want to use their plans to help design our site. But they're on the south side on the area that we've already constructed, so it's not a widening project for them. It's just strictly a repair, storm water repair project for them. They're not going to widen the bridge. They're not doing anything with the bridge. But we're the one, and we're not doing anything with the bridge either. We're going to construct a separate bridge on the north side. But I do not have a time frame. They don't seem to be in a big hurry. I'm not sure what their issues are. They don't seem to broadcast that to me.
I appreciate that. I only asked because several constituents are inquiring. Thank you.
No, I wish I had control over Caltrans. Our lives would all be a lot easier, I think.
I think also some of the discussion was that they're Caltrans having to work with the county flood control to do that repair. And so I think between those two agencies makes it slower.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, very good point.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you, Richard. So,
I would just say one thing that, thank you, Rich, for the report, but it also highlights sometimes how slow these projects go. And I think that, there's a lot of money out there, a lot of improvement to be had that we've been working on, the city's been working on for years. And I think that we'll see some of the fruits of those labors come to fruition, but it takes a long time. And I think that's something that sometimes the public doesn't understand.
no, well, it was good information. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, council comments, reports, and meetings attended. Councilman Pedersen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not so busy couple of weeks. Just had a couple of meetings with some citizens. Just been proactive trying to get my kids ready to go back to school, like probably everybody else. And soon I've been working on, so that will be coming out soon, a date, location, and agenda, working on a District 1 Town Hall meeting. So that'll be coming out soon for those for District 1. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Ramirez.
I attended some webinars that were offered through a federal government agency on AI. I've been invited to return for the rest of those and what AI and governance looks like. Met with Charter Communications. I met with one of the presenters for Cal Cities League of Cities. They have a new HR program that they have expressed interest in having us be part of their pilot program. Linked them with Mr. Cole. And then I met with multiple constituents to address complaints.
Thank you. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We had a Basin Transit meeting last Thursday and met with some constituents, and that's pretty much it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It has been a pretty slow couple of weeks. I've only met with constituents about concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so went to the Joshua Tree Park Association at CMC, had a meeting about the new mine that's being proposed. They bought, I guess this mine has bought land up there or leasing land from the state and BLM land. They have not approached the city in any capacity, so we have no idea. They have not asked us for anything, and they have not submitted anything to the city. So I just want everybody to know that. That's why if you haven't heard anything from us, that's because they haven't asked us for anything or hasn't even said anything to us. Also had a Basin Transit meeting, and they went over some new bus rules. They're just trying to clarify some of the things that's going on the bus. We also have not heard anything from the state on the e-solar also. Just want to give you guys a little heads up on that. So we don't know where it's at. So we'll just wait and see. All right, Mr. City Manager, do you have an update for us?
Yes, I do have an update, and thank you. I think your comment about the mine, the claims have been filed up there, but no application for any kind of project has been submitted that we know of just yet. So we're doing our best to find out what our role will be in the event that a claim is filed, what our land use authority is, and we're doing research on that right now and figuring that out ahead of the game. Additionally, I want to point out a couple things. Number one, we're coming into the end of our Park and Rec swim lessons. This is a vital program. Teaching kids how to swim is a big safety thing, and we think that we're pretty proud of that program. We had 8 weeks of 42 classes and a total of 162 swim lessons individuals. So I think that's a great program that we host as a city, and a lot of kids learn how to swim, so that's pretty important. We also hosted 64 kids in our summer day camp. So both those programs have been successful over the summer, and those are coming to an end right before school starts. Well, it hasn't been a busy couple weeks. I mean, it's been busy for me, but it has been hot, and I will reiterate that we had a hot weekend this last weekend. We are about to have another hot weekend, so our cooling center most likely will be open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and potentially Sunday. We've already staged some staff to be able to monitor that. The criteria for opening the cooling center is when the heat index, not just the temperature, but the heat index, which includes things like cloud cover and wind and humidity, reaches 110 degrees, and that's when we open the cooling center to the general public. Our cooling center is in the senior center, located on Adobe Road, right across from the fire station. And when the heat index reaches that 110 degrees, we'll be open. Now, the senior center is open to seniors all day, Monday through Friday, from 8 to 5. If the heat index goes beyond 5 o'clock, which it has the last couple times we've opened it, city staff goes in and takes over the monitoring of the cooling center until that heat index drops below 110. So I just wanted to let the public know that the cooling center is open once that heat index reaches 110 degrees, and we try and post that on Facebook and Instagram and on our website. So if you're looking ahead to a warm weekend and you feel like you need the cooling center, keep a lookout for those messages when we're going to open that. Finally, I want to highlight a couple of things. In code enforcement, we're moving forward to have there's several houses that we've had house fires in over the last couple of years, and we're moving to have all 5 of those declared public nuisances, which is the first step that we need to take in order to start cleaning them up. We've tried to make contact with those homeowners to try to get them to do it, but now we're moving forward to have them declared public nuisances and get those cleaned up. They've been there far too long, so we're working forward on that. Just so folks know, it's not that we have neglected these things, but it costs money. Last month we had almost $19,000 just in attorney's fees related to code enforcement. So everything we do, there's private property issues, there's property issues and encroachment issues, and so we spent a lot of money just in attorney fees to do code enforcement. Additionally, we spent about $40,000 to clean up one property, so it's not inexpensive to do these cleanups. We need to continually research grant funding to be able to enhance our code enforcement efforts, but it's an expensive endeavor, and so I just want to point that out, that we are out there working hard. And again, it's costly, but code enforcement's doing a good job, and you're going to see some real results in the coming year.
All right, thank you. All right, move on to the consent calendar. All matters on the consent calendar be considered routine of the city council and will be enacted on one motion in the form listed. Any item may be removed from the consent calendar, considered separately by the city council. The public may get an opportunity to comment on the consent calendar items prior to the city council action. Does anybody want to pull any items?
I'd like to pull 7 and 8.
7 and 8. Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question on number 3, but abstain from that, some part of that program.
You're not profiting it from it. Oh, okay. So you want to abstain from it?
Yes.
Well, I'll be abstaining from number 4, so I'm not profiting from that either, but I have to abstain from that. So, okay. So Councilmember Beltran may be abstaining from number 3. I'll be abstaining from number 4, and number 7 and 8 we'll talk about separately. Okay. Is that good? Okay. So this public comment. Does anybody want to comment at any of the items on the consent calendar? Seeing no one running to the podium. Okay, I need a motion for those items that we're going to discuss, and also remind that two of us are abstaining from 2 of them.
I'll make a motion, we move the consent calendar minus number 7 and 8.
Okay, want to have a second?
Second.
Second. Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderrain,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mitz.
All right,
Approved 5-0.
thank you. Okay, Councilmember Ramirez, you have asked number 7 to be pulled, so.
Ms. Cindy, can I get you to pull it up so that everybody else can see it? Number 7. So I was scanning the room for our finance director, but it doesn't look like she's here tonight. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Maybe staff can answer some of these questions that I have then about this report. So in just looking at this treasurer's report, I wanted to know if staff can summarize if there's any significant changes since the previous quarter.
Specific to what?
Just significant changes, increase, decrease, trends we weren't looking for.
I don't have anything significant that I've identified, but happy to look.
Okay. How much investment income was earned during quarter 4 compared to our projected budget?
Question again?
How much investment income was earned during quarter 4 compared to our projected budget?
I wouldn't be able to answer that without the budget.
I'm going to guess you might not be able to,
What's
because
that?
these are very directed towards finance, but I'm going to ask them anyways, just so that they're on the record. Did our portfolio outperform or underperform our expected rate of return? Are there any investments maturing within the next 6 months to a year that will require reinvestment decisions? And were there any changes in investment strategies this quarter? So maybe you can check with our finance director and get back to me on
I'll
that.
definitely get you the answers for that.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Okay, well, number 8. Oh, does anybody in the audience have a question about that? Okay, so we'll be able to approve both these at the same time. Okay. Number 8.
Maybe if we just scroll down a little bit more, a little more, a little more. One more. This right here. I received multiple questions and complaints from constituents asking about the strategy and why this was submitted. If we're expected to approve a 5-year plan, it's a Measure I capital improvement plan, expenditure strategy with capital improvement plan. The expenditure strategy is not intended to be a narrative of the description of the projects, but it should still be a strategy. Respectfully, after listening to the constituents, this answer here is so minimal that it borders on unserious. The constituents said to me, council should not be asked to adopt a 5-year plan supported by a 4-word strategy. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more substance.
It's understood. Maybe our city engineer's here, and you might be able to comment with respect to the 5-year capital improvement plan, Measure I. And that really has to do, Measure I is used to pave our roads, and so we have a list of identified road that need improved, and essentially we work down that list based on priority as we set them, set priority on the condition of those roads, and we do as many roads as we can based on that priority in a given year. So that. Correct me if I'm wrong, that essentially is our strategy.
Yeah, that's pretty much everyone's strategy. In other cities, it's pretty template type verbiage that SPCA almost requires us to put in.
Mm-hmm. And so right here, the guidance says the city, and it gives you examples. The city/town intends to accumulate Measure I revenue for a specific large project. And then it gives you examples, and then there's another bullet point. The city or town intends to expend Measure I revenue for specific types of eligible projects, and then it gives more detail and more of a thought process with complete sentences.
Well, essentially,
So I understand why the constituents are concerned that our plan is 4 words long, not even a complete sentence.
yeah, and essentially our plan is a pay-as-you-go. We get so much Measure I funding, and we do the streets. We are not constructing any new streets, or we haven't constructed a lot of new streets in years, because most of our Measure I fund goes to rehabbing or preserving what we currently have. So and we do as much as we can based on the amount of Measure I funding that we get. So that's why the strategy is pay as you go. Now, could we add some more detail? We could put in our list and that kind of stuff. Then perhaps that's what we should do.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Isn't that in the staff report, go in the part, Eli, where it doesn't give a list of, because I know every year we get a list from the, well, that was one list.
Yeah, there is a.
There's a list that tells you where these parts are going, but when every year, the road guys give us a list of where all the roads that are going to be for the year ahead of time, so everybody knows what road is going to be done ahead of time.
Yeah, that's that. If you look at that chart there, that's the first item on that chart there. It's the citywide pavement improvement and pavement preservation. So that's where we spend the bulk of our Measure I. And then we do have some Measure I that's going towards other projects that Richard talked about there. The Split Rock Bridge. We have administrative costs of the grants that we get to do those improvements, and then we have some other specific projects. But the bulk of our money goes to street preservation.
So in SPTCA, the money that we get, it goes by our population, and that's the money we put into it from our and the sales tax, and then they have a pool of money for our region. Like Yucca Valley is going to get a bunch of road improvements to help their traffic control here shortly. Apple Valley is getting a brand new bridge over, they improve it over Bear Valley Cutoff right there over the Mojave, and that's very expensive. So a lot of it goes by, and sometimes, like the engineer said, that project probably started 10 years ago for that bridge, but it's because they do accumulate money, and then that's why they want, that's why SPTCA is trying to go to a sunset measure I instead of it going out 30 years, because a lot of these projects in a lot of areas, they'll buy bonds to pay for these projects ahead of time or do them now, and then they pay for them with the money that comes in over the years, kind of like we did Project Phoenix. So I hope that helps a little bit for the people.
I think I can see where she's coming from, because when I first got on the council and I looked at some of the code enforcement things, as a pretty educated person, I didn't understand it. And I think that's the point, is to have language in there that a person can really understand. I mean, pay as you go, we may know what that means, the engineer knows what that means, but a citizen may not. So I think that's the whole point. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
I think that's a point well taken.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, anybody from the public want to comment on this? Okay, I'm looking for a motion for number 7 and 8.
Make a motion to approve number 7 and 8 on the consent calendar.
Second.
And just so you know, that's Reso 2624 that will be attached to item number 8. Okay, so Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Bildering,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mitz.
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Thank you. Okay, we already talked about the items removed, so we'll go to public hearings. Twentynine Palms Lighting and Landscaping Assessment District Number 1.
So this item before you is the public hearing for the Twentynine Palms Lighting and Landscape Assessment District Number 1. And within this assessment district, there are 2 locations. Back in May 26th of this year, the council looked at the annual report, the engineer's report, and they passed 2 resolutions. One was to initiate the proceedings to collect the levy for next fiscal year. The second thing they did is they approved the engineer's report, which is attached to this staff report. And third, they set a public hearing resolution, which is for tonight. And so tonight's item is kind of the conclusion of a 2-part process to set assessments and attach those to our tax records. And it's not all our tax records. It's the 2 areas that every year we maintain the landscaping, and then we look at the cost, and then we allocate and assess for the next coming fiscal year. This year, we are not recommending that any of the current assessments are raised and that they stay the same. And that's, so I would recommend that the council conduct the public hearing, receive any comments, and if there's already any questions from staff, we'd be more happy to explain any further details, and then adopt the resolution. This resolution, once it's adopted, a set of tax assessor numbers with the assessed amounts, and the resolution is sent to the tax collector, and they collect the funds for, and the city gets those monies back again to do more landscape maintenance, as indicated in the attached engineer's report.
Okay. All right, any questions for staff? All right, open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to comment on this? Seeing none, bring it back for a vote.
What, resolution 25? I'll make a motion that we adopt resolution number 2625, resolution of the City Council of the City of Twentynine Palms confirming the diagram and assessment and levying assessment pursuant to the Lighting and Landscaping Act of 1972 for fiscal year 2627.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilmember Bilgeray,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
All right,
Approved 5-0.
thank you. Okay, item number 12, San Bernardino County Fire Code Update.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Curtis Markloff, Assistant Fire Marshal with San Bernardino County Fire Department. Today I'm going to do a quick presentation on our 2025 Fire Code adoption. There we go. So the State Building Standards Commission publishes the California Fire Code every 3 years. It contains regulations that pertain to the fire-safe building standards. It becomes effective throughout California 180 days after the publication. San Bernardino County Fire Ordinance 26-02 was adopted as amended May 19th of 2026 by the Board of Directors of the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District. After adoptions, cities must ratify the ordinance through an official action for it to become effective. Pursuant to Health and Safety Code Section 13869 and Government Code Section 50022, the San Bernardino County Fire Protection District may adopt by reference the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and may also make local amendments as necessary based on local climatic, geological, and topographical conditions. Significant amendments to the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code that are included in the adopted ordinance based on the local climatic, geological, and topographical conditions include additional operational permits for battery storage systems, commercial cooking operations, commercial storage of pallets, so those are all holdovers from our 2022 ordinance, additional construction permits for electrified security fences, plant extraction systems, smoke control exhaust systems, refrigeration systems, and dust collection systems. We also kept carryover for the guidance on the minimum specifications for the road width, surfaces, and grades. That allows various types of fire vehicles to access over roads safely. Updated the minimum font size of building addresses so they're visible from the street based on the size of the building, which again is a carryover from the 2022 ordinance. And clarified the requirements regarding water flow when a building structure and the spacing of fire hydrants in commercial, industrial, and multifamily developments. Another carryover is the update the requirements for sprinkler systems. California Fire Code requires sprinklers at 12,000 square feet. We reduced that square footage down to 5,000 square feet due to our local area. And we amended the requirements for manually or mechanically operated security gates to require exit loops be installed at all fire access gates and require an infrared automatic gate system for all new and existing electrically operated gates. So this will be for the multifamily complexes. We also adopted Appendix P out of the Fire Code that provides codes for the temporary haunted house, ghost walks, and similar amusements. Our biggest one for this go-around is increase the penalties for transportation and storage of dangerous fireworks from $1,250 to a max of $15,000. And that is all I have for you. Any questions?
Any questions for our chief, our fire marshal? Assistant fire marshal, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, anybody from the public
Open the
would
public
like
hearing.
to?
Open the public hearing.
That's what I'm doing now. Oh, this is a public hearing, not just comments. I even wrote that on there. Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody from the public want to speak on this? No? Okay, close the public hearing. Okay, no questions? We're looking for a motion.
We don't assign it until the second reading, so
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
introduce it. Introduce it. You can read the title if you'd like.
The city council I'm sorry. Read the title where?
Conduct the first reading, which is everything in bold. If you'd like me to do it, I can do it.
Yes, please. I'm struggling right now.
Mayor Pro Tem wants to make a motion to conduct the first reading of an ordinance of the City Council of the City of 29 Palms, State of California, adopting the San Bernardino County Fire Code, referencing the 2025 edition of the California Fire Code and 2025 edition of the California Residential Code, along with certain changes, modifications, amendments, additions, deletions, and exceptions relating to fire regulations.
There's your motion.
Need a second.
Now we need a second.
Second.
Now we have motion and a second. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Bildring,
Aye.
Councilmember Wright,
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott,
Aye.
Mayor Mintz.
All right,
Approved 5-0.
thank you. Okay, item 13, recession of the Offland Resort Project.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Upland project that the city council approved last year had 100 cabin units of about 380 square feet each, 2 lodges, 25 employee housing units, and 2 phases of construction. Oops. This was the location. It is south of Highway 62, southeast of Lear Avenue and the corner of 62, north of Sullivan Road, west of Shoshone Valley Road. And that the Upland project had a bundle of applications that had a general plan amendment, a rezoning, a development code amendment, and a conditional use permit. This is the current zoning as it was adopted per the rescission. All of the green area, which was going to be the open space conservation, it should be OSC, I'm sorry about that, and the commercial tourist, which is that pink, would revert back to RSE, which is 2.5 acre lots. On April 23rd of this year and July 15th of this year, the applicant and the applicant's representative formally requested a rescission of the entirety of all city actions of the Upland project based upon market conditions, and the project is no longer feasible for them. So, based upon that, staff is recommending that the city council find this action exempt from CEQA and conduct a first reading of an ordinance, as you see there, and adopt a resolution also entitled to basically rescind the prior resolutions that have been adopted. And that concludes my presentation.
Any questions for Keith? Okay, I'll open the public hearing. Got some public comment here. Okay, first one from Cindy Bernard.
Hi. I just want to thank council for getting to this finally and so quickly. I think we were all surprised when Offland pulled out of this project. But I also wanted to give credit to, I'm speaking as a member of Indian Cove Neighbors, obviously. But I also want to give credit to one of our Indian Cove Neighbors members who passed away on Sunday, that he didn't live to see this vote happen. That was Jim Lawless. And Jim was profane very often in front of council, but a fierce guy. I see Councilmember Bilderate is smiling, and you know, I made sure he was aware that this vote was coming, because I knew it was incredibly important to him. He was a member of our litigating group, so. I wish he were here to see it. I hope that you do vote for the rescission. And thank you, Jim, for all of your help on this. Thank you.
Thank you. John Tally Jones.
Good evening. I too want to thank the City Council for scheduling tonight's vote on reversing the entitlements made for the Upland project. One silver lining of the original set of entitlements was the establishment of a new zoning designation, OSC, or Open Space Conservation. My hope is that this designation can be reestablished as part of the upcoming general plan revisions. It will be a useful option for ensuring a necessary balance between housing requirements, development efforts, and maintaining our natural landscape. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? That's the only 2 slips I had. Okay, I'm close the public hearing. Bring it back to council. Any questions for staff or looking for motions?
All right. So I make a motion that we do the first reading of ordinance An ordinance of the City Council of the City of 29 Palms, California, rescinding Ordinance 322 and Ordinance 323, which approved Development Code Amendment 25-00004, established the Open Space Conservation Zone, amended the city's zoning map, approved rezoning 25-000001, and rezoning assessors parcel number 0614-121-15 from single-family residential estate density, to commercial tourists and open space conservation, and that we adopt resolution number 2626, entitled "A Resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of 29 Palms, California, rescinding Resolution 2517 and Resolution 2518, which adopted General Plan Amendment number 24-000002 and approved Conditional Use Permit 24-000003.
All right, well done. Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none? Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilmember Buildering?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott?
Aye.
Mayor Mintz?
Aye.
Approved 5-0.
Okay, item number 14 is the ordinance on the sewer regulations. I will abstain for that, so I'll step out. Mayor Pro Tem, you're up.
Okay. Well, okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So this is a diagram of the downtown wastewater treatment plant location and the sewer lines that are connected there too. It is south of 62, west of Cholla, and east of Desert Queen, I believe. If we can go to the next slide. The downtown wastewater package treatment plant has been under construction for the last several years now and is about 98% complete. The scheduled completion date is now mid-September or so of 2026. And as the city engineer mentioned, we're waiting on final hookups from utility companies. These regulations will govern the use of and discharges to and require connections to the wastewater system, establish procedures for fats, oils, and grease control and permitting program, authorizing city staff to inspect grease interceptors at food establishments that discharge to the city's system, prohibit the use of industrial food waste generators and liquefiers, prohibit the discharge of hydrosilate to the city wastewater treatment, and establishing an enforcement authority for noncompliance, including citations. You were provided an updated ordinance from legal counsel that clarified and simplified a lot of the language. The essence of the ordinance is the same that has been posted. So with that, by the way, this is a required action that we have to satisfy the grants that we received to implement this wastewater treatment plant. So staff is recommending that the city council find this action exempt from CEQA and conduct the first reading of an ordinance as you see there. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you very much. Open public comment? Public hearing, I mean? Sorry. That's why I got the energy drink today. All right. Eileen Leslie?
Good evening. So I'm completely shocked by this, especially after the snarky comment that was a thank you to me for bringing this problem that we have throughout our entire city, and that is the smell. There's a horrible smell. I came and brought it to your attention because after I first brought it to your attention, it was ignored. Then it came to my attention again when somebody wanted to write an article in Los Angeles about how we had the worst smelling town for tourism. We all have the smell. Smell goes in and out, wafts in and out, goes back and forth. I've heard, oh my gosh, you have a rug covering over your manholes. These are all the things I was told. There's a million things I was told. I'm thoroughly disgusted. You wouldn't want this town to smell good, that it would be pleasing to tourism, that you would find ridiculous things to put on other business owners. I brought in over $1.5 million of my retirement money into this town, and I can't open my restaurant. Do you know why I look like a fool on Facebook? Why somebody asked me, why don't you open the Sunset? When is the Sunset going to open? I look through the windows. It's so gorgeous because the smell wafts in and out. So then I'm told, well, that might be my problem. I spent over $1,000 on new toilets. I checked all my venting. I did everything. Problem is still there. It wafts in and out of all the cities. So let's talk about this new shocker fog program, because I actually brought it to our community development director's attention that in Los Angeles, this is a normal procedure. You get your grease traps cleaned. You are a restaurant owner. That is your duty, so you don't have odor. Well, guess what? The odors aren't coming from the grease traps. Even though none of the restaurants in the city are cleaning them, I'm gonna tell you somebody who does clean them. Mine. You know where I got my grease trap? From Frank, our previous city manager, taking PPP funds and allocating them to a Van Dyke contract for $100,000. I had a brand new grease trap. Should be cleaned all the time. I cleaned it anyway after summer. Thought it might be dirty. All right, so let's talk about this. First of all, I want to say it was shocked to me to see this memorandum, because one of my questions is going to be, I hope you're not paying an attorney to copy and paste. I'd hate to see his billing hours, because this is out of another city. All of you need to read and apprise yourself of why this was instituted. Why are there fog programs in cities that have sewers? It's because of our ocean. We don't go to the ocean. Okay, I want to go to another thing. Special agreements. I'd like to know who in the city has an existing special agreement so that they are exempt from all of these qualifications. Because I'm now taking on a new yearly program, and it's subjective to whatever you want to do. I want a special agreement you designed and you built and you put in my septic tank. I'm not going to have subjective conditions come on someone who's doing what they're supposed to do. You have a smell in the city, address it.
Thank you, Ms. Leslie. No further public comment? Bring it back up here for this. We have one more. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, I just recently heard about this. I'm not, number one, I'd like to congratulate the new city manager on his new job. It's a long time coming. We waited almost 40 years to have one of our own show up on the table running our city. I'm not opposed to what you're putting forth, except that I wasn't notified about this. I'm one of the people that helped get the whole thing started originally. And I would appreciate if I would have got a notice, because I own one of the restaurants in that area. Although I have 1,000-gallon grease trap and all that just put in. It's a beautiful system. And I like Van Dyke. He did a great job. And I don't think we should be responsible for any of the leakage, and we should maintain and keep them clean. If what you're proposing today has anything to do with other than we have to be responsible people, then I'm opposed to it. But if we just have to be responsible people, I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, no further public comment. Bring it back up here for question. Close public hearing. And bring it back up here for discussion.
All right, so I did fine tooth comb this until 2:30 this morning because of all of the complaints that I received. And for me, quite frankly, this is probably one of the most concerning pieces of legislation, policy, if you will, that has come before us in my entire tenure here, which has not been that long. But my main concern is that, and I've said this over and over again since I sat up here for the very first time, if we're going to make policy and we're going to put rules into effect, it has to be an equal, fair, enforceable, leveled playing ground for everybody, all the time. So when I have to repeat that again a year and a half later, over and over and over again, we're going to need some additional training. So let's start with page number 1. Page 239, number 3. This ordinance will authorize city staff to inspect grease interceptors at all food service establishments, also known as FSCs, within the city, whether they discharge to septic systems, the city sewer system, or a privately owned and operated system. My question to staff is, this says that we are going to give you authority to inspect the grease interceptors at all food service establishments. Does that mean not just within Freedom Plaza, correct? Okay. A lot of restaurant owners and business owners did not know that because of the way that this was worded as far as it being for the downtown treatment plant. Page 240, number 6, establish enforcement authority and processes for non-compliance, including citations. As I scanned this over and over and over again, I didn't see a fee schedule for the violations. Where is the fee schedule for the violations?
So all of the fees for the connections, the citations, and all of that will be coming forth to you, because that has to go onto a separate ordinance, so we're going to be bringing that forth to you at a separate time.
Could I?
I'm not okay with that. I can't, in good faith, look at my business owners who are sitting here, who invest money, and say, we are going to make all of these rules to fine you for every little thing, but you don't know quite yet what the consequences. Why were they not brought together in tandem? The questions for staff, and then I'll let you answer.
Because there is a fee study that's being hired right now that we need to consult for, so that does take a little bit of time for us to put together. We are under a timing crunch to get this particular part of the ordinance put together. What we can take direction from the city council is to, as far as fees and all that, if it's the city council's wish, we need to get this ordinance for these procedures in place. And as far as citations and things, we can put in together a policy that, so we have an interim period to allow people to come into compliance.
So when I move to page 261, on the portion, whereas, fourth whereas, second to last line, it said, let's read the whole thing. Whereas the City of 29 Palms Project Phoenix Phases 1 and 2 are enrolled in and must comply with General Order WQ 2014-0153, General Waste Discharge Requirements for Small Domestic Wastewater Systems, issued by the Colorado River Basin Regional Quality Board on June 29th, 2021. Next part, and whereas having recently constructed and begun operation of a city sewer system in the downtown so-called Project Phoenix area, the city has determined the ordinance provisions governing its ongoing use are needed. Next part. Were we notified on June 29th, 2021 that this is something we had to do?
Yes, that was part of the original part of Project Phoenix.
And it is
getting
now
the wastewater treatment
July 28th, 2026. 5 years and almost 1 month later. A few other questions or issues that jumped out with me. Now, I'm not saying that I don't think we need this. I think we need this. I think we need to comply. I called my friends up at the EPA. They told me this is not something that you can go against. Again, equal, fair, enforceable. Issue number one, the permit can be changed whenever the city decides. The ordinance says permits are valid for 1 year, but the city can modify the terms whenever it believes the conditions have changed or the purpose of the permit isn't being met. This means to me that a business could comply today, meet all of the qualifications, and then something changes tomorrow and they have to start all over. My question to staff is, what objective criteria in writing will be used when modifying permit conditions?
So we're going to ask everyone to get their grease interceptors pumped before we get this under full implementation. So, and then what we're going to be doing is asking everyone subject to this ordinance to give us a quarterly report. Different restaurants and different food service food service outlets produce different amounts of foods, of fats, oils, and greases. We're going to start with a quarterly reporting, and if the quarterly report shows that a particular establishment is producing more fats, oils, and grease than was anticipated, and they're filling up their grease interceptor more than 25% in that particular given time, then we'll have to set them on a more aggressive schedule to get them pumped out. On the converse, if they are producing less fats, oils, and grease during their reporting period, then we can put them on a lesser inspection period and reporting period. So you're asking for an objective criteria. Grease interceptors should not be filled more than 25%. Okay, that is the objective criteria. And if grease interceptors are filled higher than that, then we need to request that those particular establishments clean out their grease interceptors more frequently.
So why was that not in this report?
As we can be more definitive. So, you know, what we're intending to do is upon the passing of this, we will be going out and going to these establishments and giving toolkits for implementation and giving more training and education materials for those establishments that would be affected by this ordinance.
Page 250, letter Z, this is for the language of the contract. It says may means that the related conduct or procedure is permissive and not mandatory. This is concerning to me because according to the way this is written right now, it's great that you have all these intentions to fix it and do a manual or whatever, but the way that you're asking me to approve it right now, staff and the city can add almost any permit condition that they want because the language says the permit may require pretreatment. The permit may require specific equipment. The permit may restrict discharge. The permit may restrict hours of operation. Do you guys know what that would do to a small business who's just making it? The permit may impose additional fees. What are they? We don't know because they're not in here. The permit may impose other conditions as necessary. Next one. The inspection authority is extremely broad, too broad for my liking because again, it's not fair, equal, and enforceable. This ordinance, as written right now, allows city officials to enter all properties requiring authorization or permits for inspections and monitoring, and refusal may result in permit denial or revocation. What I would like to have seen was a written inspection procedure, consistent inspection schedules, documentation requirements, appeals right, and an appeal process. In here, we don't have that either. Enforcement is also unlimited. This section really bothered me to my core because it says, actually I'm going to read it word for word instead of off my notes. The city may, at its option, page 259, elect to enforce the provisions of this chapter under the methods of enforcement available to it, including criminal prosecution, abatement of nuisances, civil remedies, or any other legal or equitable appropriate means. The city may elect, there's that word may again, to enforce the chapter provisions by more than one method concurrently. That does not match with we support small businesses, we want people to shop local. Criminal prosecution, and in tandem. Penalties are undefined. I would like for this ordinance to come back to us and say first offense, second offense, administrative fines, and an appeal process. Fair, equal, enforceable. The fees, the fact that we don't have a fee schedule for any of this really bothers me. But this ordinance repeatedly says, and I quote, the owners will pay permit fees, the owners will pay inspection fees, the owners will pay administrative fees, the owners will pay engineering fees, the owners will pay monitoring costs, the owners will pay pretreatment costs, the owners will pay construction costs, the owners will pay maintenance costs, and then there's a clause somewhere in here that says if there's any city property that has to be altered in order to get to the pump, then the owners or business or I think it's a trustee also has to pay. So they're gonna have to pay to break the awesome sidewalks that we're getting grants from, get down to the pump, fix it, and then pay to have it resurfaced to something that we think is acceptable. What do we think is acceptable? We don't know because it's not outlined here. There's another clause that is of concern to me, and it says, letter F. Let's find letter F. Letter F on page 254, letter F. No statement contained in this division shall be construed as preventing special agreement or arrangement between the city and any person whereby industrial waste of unusual strength or character may be accepted by the city for treatment, subject to payment therefore by the discharger. Special agreement or arrangement. My concern isn't that special agreements cannot exist, because sometimes they do. Sometimes we have to find the gray areas, sometimes we have to find somewhere to negotiate. My concern for a special agreement is, what is the written process? Who approves special agreements? Is it the city council? Is it the city manager? Is it the staff? Are these special agreements public? And what standards determine who gets one? Equal, fair, enforceable. That is none of those. And there's concern for me, after talking to my friends over at the EPA, about did anyone run this ordinance either against, with, or check that we are not in violation of Prop 218? Because that is one of the main issues as to why many other small cities have recently found themselves with grand jury indictments and findings against them. If the answer is no, then let's own it and say no, back to the drawing board and fix it. But if the answer is not no, then I want to know why.
Okay. You got a lot of questions, and we're trying to address them as we go. First of all, the answer is yes. The city attorney helped us draft this ordinance, and so yes, they looked at the 218 issue for sure. This is similar to fog ordinances in other cities where they've had very little problem with it. When you think of this ordinance, it's a little bit maybe like these are the rules set down. What we will bring forward to the council, as staff indicated, we'll bring a fee schedule back. We'll bring some specifics of enforcement back. It, of course, is in the best interest of the city for businesses to be successful. No one wants to impose unnecessary restrictions on any businesses. It's just not in the best interest of the city to do that. This is something that is required not only to make responsible, keep people responsible for for what they produce, but also in the event that they don't, that we have the ability to inspect and consequently help them come into compliance. And so that's what this is about. As far as being fair, the whole idea of being able to impose this on all food establishments makes it fair, a level playing field for all food establishments. That means not just the ones that are hooked up to our system, but this is something that it could cause problems, across the city. Could cause smell elsewhere, and if these systems aren't maintained properly throughout the city, whether they're going into a package treatment facility or whether they're going into their own septic tank, they should be maintained properly in order to avoid unwanted smells, seepage, above ground, and those kinds of things. So this is an important ordinance for us to have for the whole city, and it is designed not only to be, certainly it brought forward because, for one reason, because we have this new package treatment facility that we want to start off. We haven't hooked it up yet, but we're about to hook it up, and we want it to start off in a way where we're not gumming it up before we had this ordinance in place, which is a requirement of the grant that we used to build it in the first place. They said you got to have this ordinance, as part of the operation of this thing. So that's one of the reasons we're bringing forward the ordinance now, is we want to implement the package treatment facility. But all the specifics, the fines, the procedures for entering a property, the notices that are given for inspections, and all that stuff will be brought forward. Not just given to you, but once it's approved by you, and you can set those things at whatever you want. We'll bring you forward what staff thinks is appropriate, but certainly council has the final say on that. So, but ultimately, we would give that, whatever is developed there, as the toolkit to the individual restaurants that would have to follow it. So, part of this is kind of the baseline. This is why we're doing it. This is the basics of what we're trying to control here, and then we'll bring the specifics back. As to what that is, and we can have a lengthy workshop if you want on what those specifics are.
Thank you very, excuse me. Thank you very much, Mr. City Manager. I understand that these are two different things that need to be voted on separately. Us creating the specific ordinance, but also voting on the fee schedule, right? But I actually think it's important. And I agree with Councilwoman Ramirez, that maybe we bring this back at the same time, even though they have to be voted on separately, for transparency and to show that we are business friendly. We bring these two things back on the same agenda. Is that something that is reasonable?
I think we can do that. I don't know what, I think the only thing that will happen there is our delay of the hookup of the system, as I understand it.
And then we'll check to see if we can get the extension of our compliance of getting this ordinance. This was a condition of us getting the grant, so we'll see if we can get an extension of that deadline.
Okay.
Further discussion?
Yeah. Again, going back to first getting on the council and reading the downtown specific plan, again, not understanding it, and so I think that's important when we have the language. It needs to be simplified. So
And this is a very complex subject, so what we can do, the legal ordinance has to say what it has to say, but we can bring back an implementation plan and the fee program and what it actually means on the real world.
Any further discussion from the council?
I couldn't help but notice that this looks a lot different than what was previously presented to me by our previous city manager, two previous's.
Yeah.
This looks more vague, a lot more vague. What was the difference, or whose choice was it to
So
fix that?
we did have an ordinance that was brought to the council, I want to say, last year, 2 years ago, something to that effect. And no, actually, it's longer than that. Under City Manager Frank Lucchino, we brought it in, and the city council passed it. And then there was the delay in getting the citywide sewer system in, so the city council rescinded it. And then I took a look at what the city council had passed at the time and said this seems very heavy-handed for this jurisdiction, so I asked legal to take a look at it and see if they could lighten it up simplify it for this jurisdiction. So as far as what you're seeing before you, this is a joint, this has been an effort with legal counsel as well.
I just want to say, go ahead, Councilman.
tell Patrick Mac language.
I appreciate the work that staff is doing, and I appreciate our business owners in our community. They are the lifeblood of our community, and I think that we owe them a level of detail that supports their endeavors. So I'd like to make a motion, if there's no further discussion, that we table this item and direct staff to create more MAC-friendly language.
I think we need to put it in there some kind of way that contingent upon us getting the extension, if we have to have a special meeting or something.
And we'll look into that at first thing tomorrow morning.
All right.
Yeah, if we can get an extension, it's no problem to bring this back later.
Thank you. There's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
And roll call.
Councilmember Wright?
Aye.
Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilmember Belderain?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott?
Aye.
And Mayor Mintz abstains. It's 4-0.
Very well. Come on back, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, discussion potential action items, number 15, Community Resilient Center Grant.
Okay, this item is, you have the staff report there. In fiscal year 25-26 budget, City Council allocated $25,000 for grant writing services to support city projects and operations. In March 2025, the former city manager, James, executed an as-needed agreement with California Consulting to assist the city in identifying, pursuing grant funding opportunities. One such opportunity brought forward is for a Community Resilience Center grant offered by the California Strategic Growth Council. So a community, just for background, a Community Resilience Center would serve as a staffed heating and cooling center during periods of extreme weather, providing residents with a safe and accessible location during hazardous temperature conditions. The facility could also function as an emergency shelter and resource hub during disasters and other emergency events, such as flooding experienced by the community last year. In addition to its emergency response functions, The grant program requires year-round programming to ensure the facility remains actively utilized and accessible to the public. Such programming could include recreational activities, workforce development and job training opportunities, health and wellness services, educational workshops, and other community-oriented programs designed to enhance the overall resilience and well-being of residents. So that's some of what the grant itself calls for, okay? The Community Resilience Center grant provides funding ranging from $1 million to $10 million for the development of a resilience center in 29 Palms. The grant does not require local funding match, and that makes it a highly competitive funding opportunity. Grant funds may only be used for construction of a new facility or the renovation of an existing building. The Hope Center, a local group, has expressed an interest in partnering with the city and utilizing its recently acquired property, the former Rite Aid building, as the proposed resilience center. It should be noted that the partnership with nonprofit or community-based organizations, 501c3, are viewed favorably under grant criteria and would likely strengthen the city's application. So for this particular grant, the deadline for submittal of the application is September 25th, which is right around the corner. And speaking with Sherry Edgehill, who's a California consulting grant writer, has indicated this will be a very short timeline to accomplish the grant application, but it is doable. However, as the lead applicant, the city would be responsible for completing a substantial amount of the preparatory work, including conducting community outreach, stakeholder engagement, evaluating site and land use considerations, completing the necessary environmental review, and negotiating a long-term agreement with the Hope Center for the operation of it. Well, some of these pre-award costs may be eligible for reimbursement if the city is ultimately awarded the grant funding. The extent of any reimbursement remains uncertain. So I'm not sure this time what of those upfront costs we could be reimbursed for in the event that we were able to get the grant. Okay. Due to the size and complexity of the proposed grant, California Consulting estimates that the grant writing assistance would cost between $15,000 and $18,000. That's for their assistance to write the grant. Additional application-related costs, including city staff time and legal services, are difficult to estimate, but could total as much as another $30,000, including the development of a long-term use agreement and legal fees. Furthermore, the city, if the city is successful in securing the grant, it would also assume responsibility for administering the grant and ensuring compliance with all program requirements, including extensive reporting, monitoring, and record-keeping obligations. So I wanted to bring this forward to the council because these additional costs, this certainly we would have to do a budget adjustment to be able to do these additional costs, and I thought it prudent to bring it forward to the council and make sure that I get direction from the whole council as far as moving forward with this or not.
I just wanted to correct one thing on the staff report. It says Community Resilience Grant provides funding ranging from $1 million to $10 million for the development of a resilience center in 29 Palms. However, what was sent to us by the California Strategic Growth Council is that prior to the implementation grant, which is up to $10 million, there's planning grants, which range from $100,000 to $500,000. And those planning grants can be used for staff time, land assessments, legal fees, contract execution, all of that. So it's a two-part grant.
Well, they are two separate parts of the same project. I mean, you can apply for a planning grant that could in fact.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, so there is a planning grant. I believe the timeline on that is shorter than the timeline on this, but both grants require a significant amount of upfront time, and you're not guaranteed to get any of them. So I certainly don't mind moving forward with the grant application, but I want to make sure that the whole council was on board.
Do we even know what the cost is for the first grant she's talking about, the one for the?
Well, there would be a lesser cost for California Consulting. They stagger their fees based on the size of the grant. So because it's a lower cost, it would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 or somewhere
That's why I
close.
asked. Can you let Dan through from
Yeah, if
California
Dan's,
Consulting?
Dan with California Consulting is here as a panelist, and he can maybe speak to some of this.
Yes. Thank you for having me this evening. Yes, please, I'm available for your questions. I know we've been in touch with the city on a couple of the items that have already been, you've sent questions and such, but I'm here to answer any further questions that you might have regarding the grant application process.
So Dan, the question has to do with the planning grant for Resilience Center and a timeline and cost associated with that with respect to California Consulting.
Okay, well, it's the specific question that I understood was regarding legal fees and CEQA. Are there additional questions related to that as well?
Yeah, the planning grant is a smaller grant for the Resilience Center.
Yes.
And therefore would incur a smaller consulting fee from California Consulting. What is that? What is that range?
Well, the range is
Dan, really quick, just based off of my notes from when we met with Stoneme and your team, it looks like the grant price is based off of the entire award. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's actually, our cost is based on the amount of money that's requested. So depending on that dollar amount, we'd already estimated between 15 to 18K for the grant. And then, so in the same breath with the planning grant, whatever the dollar amount, whatever the ask is, our rate would cover any fees, any additional fees. So do you know the planning grant dollar amount that the city's asking for?
We haven't asked for anything yet, but what's the max?
500,000.
Yeah, 500,000.
Yeah, so that would be an $18,000 grant. A cost, we would invoice for 18K. And then all the services and all the questions and fees that need to be addressed would be addressed as a result of, the ask. And then, of course, our fee on top of that.
That's not two separate charges of 18K. That's 18K altogether because it's the same grant, right? Community Resilience
That's
Center
correct.
grant. Okay.
Yes, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
But what's the timeline? I mean, if this was to happen today, what on this grant that they're talking about that's for, so I'm getting a little bit, it sounds like it's getting a little bit, the lines are muddied. So would you apply for the main grant, you would include trying to, getting money for planning and legal fees and CEQA and all that, and those, is that what you're trying to tell us? Or is it two separate grants, first of all?
No, it's one grant that the city is applying for.
We haven't applied for anything yet.
No, I understood. But the consideration is that you've asked us to look at, Sherry specifically, to look at the planning grant. And so we were looking at that grant, and that final cost, if it's over 500,000, the cost to the city will be between 15 and 18K to write that grant.
But that's the planning grant, but what about the grant to apply for the
Implementation
of it, the 1 to 10 million? So that there's another fee for that, correct?
No, it's contingent on which grant we're applying for. So whether we're applying for the planning and or the implementation. So it's one or the other. So we're talking about one grant application right now.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, again, it's a little confusing. You have an implementation grant or you have a planning grant, the way that Sherry introduced it to me, one or
Yes.
the other. And so the planning grant would be up to 500,000, but the implementation grant would be up to 10 million. But what I'm hearing you say is you only pay the 18,000 one time
That's correct.
for both the planning and implementation.
Well, so to your point, city manager, I understood the city was pursuing the planning grant.
No, the city is currently looking at the implementation grant that's on the staff report.
Yeah, this council hasn't voted on that at all.
Okay, so based on that consideration, then the cost to write the grant over 500,000 up to the $1 million is 18,000.
Yeah.
Okay, and then if the implementation one from the $1 million to 10 million, that's another fee, correct?
We have two different grant applications we're looking at.
Right. Well,
So
first, we
I
haven't
understood-
applied for any, correct? I mean, are you saying we have already applied for this?
No. These are the two grants
no.
we're considering here.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
one is
two
a one is a planning and one is an implementation.
But I know, but how's he going to do both for $18,000?
Well, they're not.
Because
They're
if you
two-
look at
two
the fee
separate fees.
schedule,
But I understood the planning grant was the order, and so that's what we're focusing on.
Okay, so let's leave that one alone. That was the one for 18. So if somebody was coming to you right now and said they want to get a grant for fee for the study and for the all the staff time and legal fees, what would that be? Because that's the planning grant what we're talking about now, not the implementation one. If a planning grant, because nothing's been we have.
but the state is not going to award you a planning grant if they don't plan to award you an implementation grant. They're not going to say, here's $500,000 to plan a
No, I
project.
want
that
to
we're
know
not
what
doing.
they're going to charge to try it.
It's on the fee schedule. It's a box. Let me see here.
I am-
And I think the other concern is, Dan, is that maybe this staff report doesn't accurately reflect that this contract was already executed. And within the past year, you have been working with Stone. I came in towards the end once I went to the grant writing.
What are you talking about? I never implemented this.
The contract with
was
California
executed last year.
Consulting is an as needed. If we find a grant opportunity.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so Stone told him to start working on this?
Our agreement went into effect March of 2025. We are in a contract. Yes, Stone identified a grant for new sidewalks because it's within his signing purchase. He identified a grant for a splash pad in a park that we asked for more information on. We didn't say we're going to go after it. We asked for information on it. He also asked for flood control in District 2, which is really needed. And then this was the other one. And we're looking at what are the trends in the state. And when I went to Sacramento and I went to the Rural Cities Grants and Playbook Workshop, these were the ones that Stone had highlighted. These were the ones that I asked the state, what do you guys think we should do? So yes, the contract was executed with California Consultants in March of 2025. Now, have we moved forward? No. That
Right,
is not
because
what I'm saying.
I never knew we were specifically trying to get a grant for the Hope Center, for this resilience center. We already did the one for Global, Women of Color Global, and that was turned down, so,
And I think that that's why they're here tonight, to talk about what's different.
okay.
Well, one thing that's different is they wrote their own grant.
Yeah. Women of color actually presented their own proposal.
I understand. So if you guys
Which-
take the time to read this grant, it says the way that the most success is coming out of this, and I saw this when speaking to City Manager of Needles as well, is that when the city is the lead applicant and they are partnering with one or more agencies, that increases your rate of getting an award. Dan, you have
Has
billions
any
of dollars in experience. Am I wrong?
Yeah, absolutely, 22 years worth.
Has any other agency asked for us to partner with them for this grant? Has anybody, any other agency had the opportunity to help apply to us to do this, or is it just one?
I have questions, but I'm going to wait for this to finish because I'm pretty sure the public will come up and then we'll find that out.
No other, no other local organization has approached me or the city, to my knowledge, about applying for this. It should be noted that certainly that community-based organizations, 501c3 organizations can apply for this grant themselves and ask that the city be a partner with them in that, which is a different way than what's proposed here,
Right.
but they could be the lead applicant. That is certainly a
So
doable
we have to
thing.
decide if we want to be the lead applicant. Okay, all right. In other words, the Hope Center could apply for this on their own. Okay,
To my knowledge, yes.
okay. Any other questions for staff or for our consultant? So I'll open we have slips. Open the public hearing. Okay, Sharice Resper.
They're from the
Okay, Lassar, yeah, sure, I guess so. Lassara Maria, Moea.
Good evening, Mayor and esteemed counselor. I'm Lashara Maya, and I serve as the Disaster Preparedness Director for the HOPE Project. Thank you for the opportunity to come tonight and share with you our disaster preparedness efforts, current partnerships, and commitment to serve 29 Palms and Morongo Basin. Our partnership with the Red Cross has been in place since June of 2025. It started with the disaster program manager, Erin Fox, expressing her extreme difficulty in arranging resources and preparation in the high desert related to the Red Cross, as there were only 2 official Red Cross volunteers in the entire Morongo Basin, one of which was Marjorie Smith, and she has since passed. The campaign began on August 16th of 2025 with the shelter training that produced 41 Red Cross shelter-trained individuals. Of these 41, 24 members were from the Sanctuary Church, directly under the HOPE Project. These 24 members outside of the Red Cross function as nurse practitioners, registered nurses, licensed clinical social workers, veterans, CFOs, educators, and counselors. Red Cross has full utilization of these certifications through individuals and covered under Red Cross insurance. Shortly thereafter, we launched the shelter simulation training, which was a mock shelter held at the Hope Center in order to educate the public on how to run, open, and function these shelters. From that, we learned registration, building cots, and feeding. Most of those individuals now hold up-to-date food handlers. There were 29 individuals certified on that day. 16 were from the Sanctuary Church on behalf of the HOPE Project. Again, more than half. May of this year, we launched the hands-only CPR that the council were also invited to. At this time, it was Erin from the Red Cross who reached out to the Sanctuary Church and asked it to take leadership positions in the Red Cross, as she has multiple counties now under her, and she will have to withdraw from the Morongo Basin, essentially leaving 29 Palms in our hands. As a result, we stepped up. I've been approved to be the community educator on behalf of the Red Cross, as well as currently in training to be the partnership liaison for the Morongo Basin in Erin Fox's place. Our members also stepped up to take places of feeding liaison. They will establish memorandums of understanding with local restaurants to ensure that we have feeding capabilities in the event of a shelter. 4 individuals have stepped up to take logistic leadership positions and to be able to have the authority to transport Red Cross shelter trailers, which includes setups for 100 shelter individuals. Currently, only Red Cross designated and certified trainees can operate Red Cross shelters or manage its property. In the Morongo Basin, there are only currently 3 individuals who have the authority to open up a shelter. 2 of those are at the Sanctuary Church on behalf of the Hope Center. Currently, to open a shelter, you only need 40 displaced individuals or potentially displaced individuals from their home. The rain on August 25th of last year, 10 individuals, to my knowledge, direct knowledge, were displaced from their home because of water intrusion. That's 1/4. I yield a minute of my time.
I don't think we can do that. I mean, doesn't matter. Come on up.
I'll finish reading it.
There you go. Shanice Risper.
I'm continuing hers. Currently, to open a shelter, there needs to be 40 displaced potentially, okay, she said that, temporarily displaced from their homes related to the water intrusion. She just said that. All right. According to the Red Cross, there are
In any event that causes an individual to no longer be able to occupy their home safely, these events include fire, earthquake, flood, or bomb threat. Last year, with the bombing of the reproductive organization in Palm Springs, the individual was from 29 Palms, and as a result, the Red Cross was placed on standby to open a shelter in event of neighborhood evacuation if evacuation was mandatory. In addition to the Red Cross, the Hope Project has also secured a partnership with the national organization called Tool Bank. This organization exists specifically to provide tools to responsible nonprofit organizations free of cost for the purpose of rebuilding communities after a disaster. This organization has a national memorandum of understanding with the Red Cross and has committed to work together to address and rebuild the community after any disaster through the Sanctuary Church Hope Project. As of July 24th, we picked up 82 disaster buckets with basic tools needed to get rebuilding started. All right, and my name is Shanice Risper. I'm the Community Outreach Director for the Hope Project. We have a weekly food distribution serving over 1,300 individuals in our community every single month. We have been establishing relationships with those in our community who have food insecurities. We are doing projects and reaching out to over 20 families, 35 children each month, helping, giving out free diapers, baby wipes. We are a presence in this town. And I know I've been here almost three decades, going on 3 decades, and anyone who asks, they know the Sanctuary Church, the Hope Project, used to be formerly CLEP, but they know we're here. We're a presence, and we are making a difference in this community. We're doing our part. We would love for the City of 29 Palms to partner with us. We have acquired the former Rite Aid building, which would be an ideal location for a shelter, and it hasn't even been renovated. So us getting this money will potentially help us to prepare for the inevitable. It's not if, but when a natural disaster is going to happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Cindy Bernard.
Hi. Before I start, I want to be clear. I'm not against religion, as a council member has accused me of being. I am against the mixture of religion and taxpayer dollars. I believe in our First Amendment and in the separation of church and state. And my comment is not about whether the Hope Center or the Sanctuary Church does good work for the community, because I'm sure they do. This is about appropriate process and the need for the city to develop policy on selecting city partners and clear recusal policies. I'm in favor of the grant, and I'm in favor of a climate resilience center. But the appropriate mechanism for finding a nonprofit partner for the city isn't through personal contacts. Also, it's for a public and transparent request for proposals, also referred to as an RFP. Nonprofits pitch their ideas and the city chooses the best fit. For 2 different Resilience Center grants now, the city has failed to use a transparent, competitive process for selecting a nonprofit partner. And in both cases, individuals within the city used personal contacts to select the same entity with the same church. As you recall, last time out, Stone selected CLAP and Hope Center without consulting council in August 2024, and then threw the proposal at council a week before it was due. Sounds like that has happened again. This entity, the Hope Center, and its fiscal sponsor, CLAP, an arm of the Sanctuary Church, per CLAP's IRS filings, do not have the financial capacity or transparency to be a city partner on a project of this scale, as indicated by CLAP's filings of 990N postcards for organizations with less than $50,000 per year in revenue. This is a $10 million project. They show less than $50,000 in revenue every single year, per their IRS filings. I have provided proof of this via an email to the city manager, the mayor, and the mayor pro tem, and given this lack of documented capacity, would the grant even be competitive? I'm also concerned about the misstatements about Hope Center in the staff report, which claimed it was a nonprofit, but as of now, it is not an independent 501c3 nonprofit per database searches. It is using CLAP as a fiscal receiver. Also, the staff report said the Hope Center has expressed interest in partnering with the city in utilizing its recently acquired property, the former Rite Aid building, as the proposed Resilience Center. I have provided proof to the city manager, the mayor, and the mayor pro tem that the Rite Aid building was purchased by the Sanctuary Church, not the Hope Center. I have also provided proof that as of mid-July, there was no mention by the Sanctuary Church in its closing escrow celebration of the Hope Center or of a Resilience Center. With regard to the vote on this item, I'm concerned that there are council members who should recuse due to the appearance of a conflict of interest. Recently, TBID members who are members of Rediscover 29 had to recuse from voting on a grant proposal from Rediscover. They were not profiting in any way, but they were members of Rediscover. In this case, we have a council member who attends services at the Sanctuary Church as considered a member by at least one member I've spoken with. And we have another council member who's president of an association of which the Sanctuary Church is a member. Of course, church relationships are much fuzzier than a business organization, but the rule isn't having a conflict, it's the appearance of a conflict.
Okay, that's all the slips I had. Does anybody else, wait, we have somebody, hand is
We
raised.
have a hand raise of a David Marquez online, so I'll unmute him now.
David Marquez.
He's from California Consulting as well.
He's is from California Consulting?
Yeah, they asked to let him in.
Yeah, I've tried to let him in. I can't let him in.
Yeah, I sent him a unmute request now if he wants to unmute himself.
Yeah, hello, this is David Marquez. I can certainly wait my turn, and if you want to come back to staff, to California Consulting and talk, and I will join Dan. If that
Okay,
works
so
best.
this will be on the staff then. Okay, does anybody else from the public want to speak? Okay, please fill out a slip. Oh, your public comment. Okay, your public comment. Okay, this is only on this item.
And just real quick, sir, you gave me 2 forms. They're duplicate forms.
Right, because I'm gonna speak about 2 different things. She said fill one out for each. Is that incorrect?
What items did you want to speak on? This one?
No, it's public comments, but he gave me 2 duplicate forms,
Oh.
and he's saying to speak.
So you just want to do public comment, sir, not this item? Okay, you're fine. We haven't got that far yet. That's okay.
But I was asking him because he filled out 2.
Oh,
exact
fill out 2.
forms, and so he only gets.
You still only get 3 minutes, yeah.
Okay, I'll do 1.5, 1.5.
Okay. Oh, you have 2? Yeah, you only get 3 minutes, sir. Yes, I see what you're saying. Yes, you could have spoke 3 minutes on 2 different items, public comment and say this one. But, yeah, in public comment, you get 3
Go
minutes.
ahead, Ms. Ford. You can.
Okay, come on up.
Good afternoon, everyone, council. Just wanted to make a clarification that CLEP is the Hope Project, not the Hope Center. The name was changed just because Community Equipping and Learning Project was too much to speak out on a normal basis. So CLEP has been changed to the Hope Project, which is why you see it. Right now, we're waiting for the IRS to send us the final paperwork on that. That's why you see the Hope Project doing business, CLEP doing business as the Hope Project. The Hope Project, in its 3 years of existence, even before that, CLEP has never made a dime. The Sanctuary Church pays all of their bills through the free will giving of the members. So that's why you see the less than $50,000 made, because nothing that happens through the Hope Project is charged back to the people. So there's no revenue that comes into that project.
Oh, no, please don't do that. Thank you. No, please, we don't do that. Okay. You're done, ma'am? You had more time? Okay, well, thank you. Thank you. Okay, so I have nobody else coming up. Okay, we're going to close the public hearing and come back to staff, and I'm not sure who this David is.
Well, there's obviously some issues have been raised. The separation of church and state is certain. It's a little fuzzy to me whether it's the Hope Project is going to be the partner or whether it's the Sanctuary Church. Certainly, the signs that are down there on the building right now suggest the Sanctuary Church is going to go into that location. And I don't know, what the plan is as far as renovating it to accommodate a resiliency center or church. So that's would be worked out in a long-term use
So we
agreement.
haven't,
Those notes are in here from the meeting that we had with Sherry and their leadership and us.
I haven't seen those notes.
They're right in here in the staff report.
Yeah.
What you mean for what the actual building's gonna look like?
For what the first issue that you addressed, I don't understand the difference between church and state and the signs and the buildings. What was discussed at that meeting, where you, myself, and their leadership team and California Consulting was there, was that there would be a long-term use agreement. So basically, because a lot of people are not up to date on this, basically, I came into this project because I was the only council member that attended the Red Cross trainings, the first one. I did not go to the second one. I did not go to the shelter simulation, but I did go to the first one with Dr. Stone James. He put this on because the American Red Cross, after we had our bomb threats and after we had the flooding that we have every year and we have no emergency shelter to put displaced people, in his mind thought we need to work with the Red Cross to be able to bring emergency services up here. The only way to do that is to have a community educator or a liaison in your community. So the questions that are being raised about why them and why no one else, there was nobody else that showed up to that training. And that is the only way that legally, through the American Red Cross, we can get these emergency services. That is the main only reason. Then we went a little bit further into what other building structure is there in this city that could house more than 40 people at one time? What other organization has come forward and said, we don't want anything, we just need you to help us so that we can help the community? Because the last grant, even though we were named as a co-applicant, showed millions of dollars for salaries. That's not what they're asking for. They're saying, give us a partnership. We need this money to get the showers, to get the refrigeration, to get all this, and then we will run the program. You guys take care of the money, because that's part of the meeting that we had, is that the money will come directly to the city. The city holds on to that money, and the city decides how and when it is dispersed. All they're doing is asking to say, we would like to partner and we would like to open our doors. And that will be through an agreement, which was agreed on, it's in the staff report, in the notes. And it would be through multiple partnerships, which is what this grant wants to see. They want to see the county and the Red Cross and the nonprofits and the churches and the tribes and the cities all working together for an emergency disaster preparedness program. We don't have one. So open up an RFP. Who else can bring 40 certified American Red Cross people?
I just asked a question. I don't need to be chastised for that.
I'm answering the questions
I just-
about why,
I asked
because
a-
there's,
I'm gonna-
I wasn't done. Yeah.
You're done. Okay, go ahead.
Because there's questions about a sense of impropriety. There's questions about, I don't know how we got here. I don't know why Stone did. Well, Stone did this, number one, because it was within his signing power. Number two, because he cared about our future. He cared about the fact that we don't have an emergency shelter to put people at. That's where this process came from, for clarification.
Well, we do have a place to put them now. We have Freedom Plaza. We can fit 100 people in that building. Just to be clear, what I want to ask the consultant then, as far as doing the program, obviously there's some questions about who's applying. Now, if they said that the cliff is going from Cliff to Hope Center, Cliff is going to Hope Center, but Sanctuary is the one with the 5013C. Is how can they apply then? If who's going to apply?
I think it's the CLEP Center that has the 501c3.
Right. Okay. So the CLEP Center, but everything on here says Hope Center. So if they were to start this off with Hope Center and they research and that they're not the 501c3, what would that do to the grant? I mean, how would that even get off the ground?
Yeah, I'll defer to David. Okay.
I don't know if David's around.
David, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Sorry, I had to unmute myself again. Thank you for giving me the opportunity here. Join Dan on behalf of California Consulting for 29 Palms. Yes, we need a lead agency, and being a 501c3 obviously would be an advantage. This grant, as was mentioned before, does require collaborative partners, in some cases to be more competitive, maybe 2, possibly 3 collaborative partners. You don't want to make it unwieldy, but you want to make sure that with this grant, the eventual development and maybe down the line, the eventual construction or of a resiliency center would improve, enhance, and increase the delivery of essential programs and services to the community. And so with this grant, collaboration is certainly encouraged. There would be a lead agency, and the lead agency could be a nonprofit agency, as we've seen in the first round, that about half of the organizations that were funded were nonprofit organizations or tribal bands. They were cities and they were counties. So the key thing is ensuring that, not to get too technical here, is making sure that the grant is, meets the objectives and the goals is written that way, and the scoring rubric and the city demonstrates, or the collaborative, to be more specific, demonstrates the capacity to develop and implement. If it's going to be a planning grant, to plan and design and get to 100% design a community resiliency center. If you want to do implementation, it'd be best to demonstrate that you have, your CEQA and you have your design probably maybe like 80 to 90% done in order to be competitive. So I'll leave it at that. If there's any other questions there, I hope I answered some, but.
Well, you said 90% done. I'm sorry, you said 90% done. So before this is even submitted, it'd have to be 90% like all the plans, all the implementation plans would have to be done before the grant is even submitted. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, what I'm saying is that it's, in order to be competitive for the implementation, in most cases, this is the second round, so it could be very different. So I'm not predicting, but I would recommend, to have a design that's definitely, I would say at the minimum 30% design, because at 30% design, you have cost and you have a good idea of where you're going, and you demonstrate community support, and still would, they would like you from the Strategic Growth Council to have your CEQA and, your permitting. And it'll be, since it depends if, with regards to the permits and the timeline, because they're going to be concerned about the timeline. But as I heard before mentioned, the planning grant is essential in helping you get to it, to 60 to 90%, to 30 to 60 to 90% completion with regards to the design.
Okay, so you're saying we should apply for the planning grant first?
Yes, I'm suggesting that. That's my recommendation. I don't want to speak for the city. They could have a different perspective. That's just based on my experience.
Mr. City Manager, though, just for clarity, we can't vote on that grant. It's not a recommendation, right, for the staff report?
Well, the application itself, moving forward with the application, would require us to. There's several things that are that I submitted with the staff report. There's the CEQA that they talked about. There's community outreach that is involved, and there's obviously the long-term use agreement. Are 3 parts of this that are critical to the application. And correct me if I'm wrong, David, that goes for the planning and or the implementation.
Yeah, the planning will get you to basically where you want to be is, your construction ready.
Right. So certainly community outreach and development of what the renovations of this particular building. So in order to, so that's, there's cost outside the $18,000 associated with the grant. And so one of the reasons I brought this forward is because I'd like the council to give me direction to either move forward or not move forward, is really what it comes down to.
Thank you.
Well, first of all, I just want to make sure that I make a comment to the Hope Center and to the Sanctuary Church. You guys are doing a great job. I was up there for your opening of the Hope Center. You guys are doing great. You're feeding lots of people. I go down to by your church down there. There's cars lined up constantly. So this is by no means my saying that if this was to happen, you wouldn't do a good job. I'm just making sure that whatever we do, it's done the right way, because if we go through all of this, spend $50,000 and then it just doesn't happen, then the city is out $50,000. That's basically the bottom line here. That if we have, and the timeline is what I'm the most concerned about, because this has to be submitted by September 25th. And if this all isn't done before then to be submitted, then it's all going to be for naught. And I wish we had more time to do this. I really do. I think maybe with more time, this might have worked. I'm just concerned about the timeline. I really am. But like I say, I know folks there, and I think you guys are doing a fantastic job for the community. You're actually outreaching to people, and I do appreciate that. Trust me. So I just want to make sure there's nothing that you guys think that I'm not supporting your church.
I also want to kind of piggyback off that as well. I've attended several of the sanctuary churches or the Hope Project's events where they feed people, and I volunteered and have tried to be a resource to connect the Hope Project with resources to help them move forward. And I certainly appreciate all the work that you do in the community. And I just want to, I'm concerned more about the time as well. I know how difficult achieving grants can be. And, the reason why I brought up women of color when they first brought their Resilience Center proposal, they had actually got pro bono work from a grant writer, and they had worked on that grant for 6 months before they had brought it to the city. And so they were almost pretty much shovel ready. Since then my view on how to address Community Resilience Center has somewhat evolved. I've gotten concerns from constituents about our heating and cooling center at the senior center. The city has buildings. The city has buildings that are that need to be addressed, that need to be maintained. And one of the things about the other application was that the city was going to own the building, and I thought that was very important. So it essentially was going to be to help fulfill the city's obligations as it pertains to completing Project Phoenix and helping to bring resources to the downtown area. I find this, it's very difficult for me because I like what you guys do, but I'm not comfortable at this point.
One of the things that, we've just, we're into summer quite a bit here. We just had a weekend where we opened up our cooling center. We're going to have another weekend, as I mentioned earlier, that we're going to open up our cooling center again. And I will tell you that despite the extreme temperatures that we have, we had 5 people over the course of 3 days take advantage of the cooling center this past weekend. And we'll see what happens moving forward this weekend. So I just, one of the questions that I would encourage the council to ask is, what problem are we solving here with this application? I think that's an important question to ask. I know the idea of a resiliency center, certainly there are people that are taking advantage of the center that the Hope Center is providing right now, and I think successfully. So I think there could be some value in it, but you just have to decide whether that's something that at this time that we want to move forward with.
Yeah, and I just want to touch on what the mayor had said about Freedom Plaza, the community center at Freedom Plaza. Women of Color's Global's proposal was actually to help renovate Freedom Plaza, and the mayor, made the observation that that's a building that can hold a lot of people in case there was a problem or a natural disaster. And so I see they're different. While I support the idea of community resilience, I think these proposals are different.
And I'm assuming then, if we had a disaster, the person that's certified with the Red Cross could use our facility would be open to them to use it. I mean, we have three large buildings.
We certainly could make that available to the Red Cross. The other thing we can do, I understand the Red Cross, was the expert in this, but cities certainly could purchase cots and showers, portable showers and that kind of stuff that we could make available in the event that we could open it ourselves. Certainly, the Red Cross brings with it some expertise in that, but we have disaster preparedness that we're going to be working on, moving forward, and that certainly could be part of it.
Well, I know some cities use their school districts' gymnasiums. I mean, when the fires were down in LA, they used a lot of the school gymnasiums our facility would be.
I know the college has an agreement with the Red Cross to be able to open that in the past, and they talked about opening at one time, but didn't have the staff to be able to do that. So during that time, we actually went and got their supplies and made them available in our senior center.
At your senior, okay.
I'm going to make a motion, because you asked for direction, correct? I'm going to make a motion that we still move forward because of the work that Dr. James put into this, because of the fact that while we can buy our own cots, currently we're asking to raise the sales tax. So I don't think we have that much money for it. The fact that they are the designated Red Cross American shelter provider for the entire Morongo Basin, and there's nobody else, just them. And I'm quite frankly, I'm a little bit concerned about going back and forth with our grant provider. We need an emergency shelter. We need a heating and cooling center bigger than the senior center. We need these things. So I'm going to make the motion. If I can get a second, great. If not, that's fine.
Okay, the motion is to move forward.
By moving forward, you mean continue to educate ourselves on this to go forward with it, or are you talking about we're going 100%?
Continue the months of work that Stone James put into this. You got to think about this. We told him, go within your purchasing agreement, go and do the things, and then we go and do the things, and we have all of these organizations and community leaders coming out to do it. We're wasting the time of California Consulting. And then now it came back to us, even though it was something that was worked on then. And I just feel like every single project that we've brought up, or that Stone brought up, or any grant that we've pursued hasn't been able to move forward for one reason or another. Either city staff says no, or the council says no, and I mean, we just have this grant writing money sitting there.
That's our job, is to direct staff as far as what grants we want to pursue. Now, if he used monies to find out what grants were available is one thing, but the city manager cannot say we're going to get this grant, especially what this is going to cost, $50,000.
It was never 50,000. That was added into this report.
Right, but okay. So anyway, so we have a motion.
It doesn't matter. I mean, there's contracts, executions, agreements. So the motion is that we continue to move forward. We get an emergency shelter that is certified through the American Red Cross, and we move forward because at the end of the day, the city's still going to have control of the money, the funding, and how it is used. There asking to partner with us so that we may designate that facility
Yeah.
as a use. They're not asking for revenue. They're not asking for the money. They're asking, the money still comes to the city.
I understand that, and you're making valid points. I do want to make one observation, though. When the city does get federal grants or large grants like this, there's a lot of back-end work that actually costs the city money, too. That's why I brought up the thing about we were going to get the building out of the last grant, and I felt like that was important if the city was going to have to be managing this long-term grant, and it gets expensive sometimes. I'm happy to move forward as a partner. I'm happy to write a letter of support for the Hope project, but I find it to be, I can't really get behind the idea of spending city grant money on a grant where the city will not own the building. It's nothing against the church; they do great work. It really comes down to we need to own the building.
Yeah, but owning the building, once that $10 million runs out, we're on the hook to maintain that building. And Freedom Plaza is a prime example of us maintaining a building we can't afford right now. So if we get the building, if we would have got that grant, because I was the mayor at the time, we got that building for $9 million, and once that $10 million was gone, now we're spending, how much is Freedom Plaza? $200,000 a year to maintain?
Close to, yeah.
So we couldn't maintain that building after it's gone. So partnering with someone with the building that's going to be there regardless, like a Hope Center. Once the money runs out, the grant doesn't come back, and now it's like, hey, that's your one-time kill. The Hope Center will still be there doing great things. They just got 3 years of some money.
I understand.
So that's where, like, we can't own a building. And then Women of Color, we're going to put an add-on to Freedom Plaza, which was a great idea until we got to fund it after the money runs out. And that's...
I understand that, but a lot of them, if I remember this correctly, a lot of that money that they were asking for was also to help subsidize the existing building as well as the new building.
Yeah, when you subsidize, what do you mean, like add on to it?
No, it was to upgrade the solar system, put solar on the community center at Freedom Plaza.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was as simple as like we were just building a building. It was a lot more complex.
It was complex, but the part about, I think what we're referring to, there's a lot in language in here about reporting back to the government how this money is being spent. So staff time is going to have to be used to follow up the whole time on this, on all these grants, on all this money.
As a partner and per the notes, it was determined that their staff would give us the reports and then we turn them in. And I mean, we have PhD level staff, LCSWs, nurse practitioners, doctors. I think they're pretty qualified.
Well, that's, okay. All right, so your motion is that you want the city manager to move forward to try to get this grant and thus spend the $50,000, which is estimated. Is that your motion?
That $30,000 is being thrown in there. And as I've tried to make this abundantly clear, and if anyone would have read the staff report one by one, it shows you that it's an investment. I don't know of any projects. I mean, I asked today about our funding. I don't know of any projects where we have a return on investment that is both financial and for the community. And clearly, we haven't figured it out, and I don't know how many years, because we have a monsoon season every year, and every year people are displaced. And so, yes, sometimes you need to invest money into grant writing. That's why you guys sent me to that workshop and had us identified, put us on the map to meet with the people who are not only writing the grants, but the people who are winning the grants and the people who are awarding the grants. That's why this one was picked specifically. So yes, I'm gonna just ask to move forward. And if not, then that's okay. You guys don't think this is a priority? That's okay.
Okay. All right, that's the motion, so I guess it has to be a second. Okay, I'm not hearing a second, so motion.
Second.
All right, second by Councilmember Beltran.
And I'll explain my second, because I get a lot of wows in the crowd. I sat as the mayor for 2 years during both floods, and we needed that center. We needed somewhere to go. I sat there during the bombing. We needed somewhere to go. Me and Mr. James were going through military-wise. We have that training on how to prevent emergencies. So I was with them working through all these issues. I don't like the time frame that we're working, behind the power curve, and that's something as a city we need to figure out how to be proactive and not wait till last minute to do things. So now can have a better discussion and have more time to do things, but that's here or there. But we need to figure out how to help. We can't make a flood drain. We can't put sidewalks and drains in. There's a lot of things we can't do. We can't feed everybody, but we can help a lot of people. And this is one of those things we have to help. 30 million, was it 30,000? On a hope that we can make this happen. I mean, I know it sucks. Believe me, I'm very frugal. But I believe in the Hope Center and that staff. If we can get the grant and get everything done, I know we'll be successful. I have to bet on our community members and everything they've done to do it's gonna happen. And I believe they're gonna pray too, so they got the church on their side too. And a lot of people don't like what's going on because they're focusing on individuals and not the project. Look what the project and what this thing can do for the community and not people behind it you don't like. Let's focus on what we can do as a community together and put our differences aside and support each other. So I support it. Second.
Okay, any other discussion before we vote? Okay, well, my main concern is the timeline, because if we put all this into it and the timeline doesn't happen, or we don't get the grant, then the money's gone we could have spent the money on something else, so.
I did want to say I did want to touch on a little bit why my thought process of a resilience center had evolved over time. And it is because of what Councilmember Bilderin had said with the floods. And you and I went there to the LPAC Center during one of those floods with Team Rubicon, and Stone Japes does a great job when it comes to emergency management. And I just felt like after that, we were able to start utilizing our own buildings a lot more effectively, and partnering with nonprofit organizations more effectively. And it's I haven't really, that's why it's evolved over time. I just wanted to explain that, but I certainly don't have a problem with the Hope Project or the church.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Wright?
I'm going to abstain.
Abstain. Councilwoman Ramirez?
Aye.
Councilmember Bilderin?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Scott?
Nay.
Mayor Mitz?
No.
So we have 2-1.
So the motion doesn't carry.
You have to have 3 in order for it to carry.
That's right.
Right. Okay. All right. Where are we at here? Future and council initiated items. Anybody have any initiated items they want to put on?
Yes, we need to come up with a method, and I had to talk with the city manager about this, about all of the complaints that we get. There should be a customer service survey that accurately measures customer service. Are you happy? Are you not happy? Then we need to bring it back.
Yeah. We've once I started investigating this with staff, we have had that before, and we'll reinstitute something similar.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move on to public comments. This is a time for the public to address the city council on issues with the jurisdiction of the city council that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the city council and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give it to the city clerk. The city council is prohibited by state law from taking action on discussing items not included in the printed agenda. Public comments on the specific items will be deferred to consider during the agenda. Okay. I have one that was written. This is a statement for public comment. I would like to remind you that the urgency asked the AI surveillance contract be placed back on the agenda since January. As this administrative ramps up military action and technology against its own, This dangerous violation of privacy may be formally addressed as soon as possible. Freedom would mean living without being tracked, monitored, logged, profiled, monetized, or censored. Whether you have a strong political stance or not, we are seeing today is nothing less than an authoritarian takeover. Complete control over our time, money, movement, and survival resources is imminent. You'll be on the side of the people or profiting overlords. All power to the people. Heather Hunger. Beth Sheffield.
Good evening, everyone. First, thank you to Daniel Mintz and Octavia Scott for attending the info meeting hosted by the National Parks Conservation Association regarding the Music Valley mining claims that have been staked by the Australian mining company Dateline Resources. For those who are not aware, Dateline has staked almost 1,100 claims totaling 21,820 acres, which is a little over 34 square miles in total. The majority of these claims are within the San Bernardino County. Of special concern, the claims staked by this mining company just this month include land within the boundary of the city of Twentynine Palms, covering areas in the Hanson Tract, which is in District 3. This is a big deal, and one of my concerns is about the potential for toxic mining runoff infecting our water aquifers. Many of us out here depend on domestic wells, and the city's own wells in the Mesquite Subbasin could be impacted. Also, possible moratorium on data centers in 29 Palms, thanks to Octavia Scott for adding that as a future agenda item to consider this possibility. I've been following the fight going on down in Coachella Valley in Indio regarding a proposed data center there. Really admire the great work that they're doing down there in concert with their city council. And if you're interested, there's lots of information on the notinmyvalley.org website. And regarding flock surveillance, finally, my concerns about flock surveillance. At the last city council meeting, I shared about flock's ability to do pattern of life and heat mapping to track where people go. Tonight, I'd like to share a bit about flock surveillance's ability to not only search car license plates, but flock surveillance also being able to track people. So these are screenshots of pages from Flock's own website. This one advertises the camera is just the beginning. These promotions on the Flock website promote the ability to do natural language search and free-form search. And also from Flock website, here's an example of a Flock search using these search methods, again from Flock's own website. This search was for camo hat, forest green sweater. You see there's a man in here, not a car, a man. Flock has the ability to record and search much more than just license plates. They can also search for a white pickup truck with a trailer or a blue car with bumper stickers. It seems pretty clear that they have the ability to search for people also. Thank you.
Thank you. Eli, is there anybody on the line that wants to speak before I finish these?
No one currently has their hand raised. No.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Ricky Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, and the council as well. I'm here to introduce myself as a new citizen to 29 Palms, California. My purpose tonight is I'm not here to save the world. I don't have all the answers. I'm here to embrace the culture as it is and add value where I can. Excuse me. Where I can. A little bit about myself is originally I'm from Southeast Missouri. My wife and I just transferred here from Biloxi, Mississippi. She's a therapist aboard the base here with the Marine Corps. I'm also a 5-year Marine veteran myself. I was a 1391 bulk fuel specialist. Besides a 5-year Marine veteran, I'm also a 3-time convicted felon for methamphetamines and DWIs. That's part of my past. I've been in recovery for about 15 years. I now travel throughout the country speaking at high schools, prisons, churches, conferences. There's probably not an environment that I've not gone into or I won't go into. The way that I choose to look at it is I'm willing to step in front of a group of strangers, all of you, expose my entire life and risk embarrassment to inspire just one person. A quote that I want to share with you tonight before I close is, I think the most effective form of leadership is the manner in which we choose to lead ourselves. Our words are who we aspire to be, and our conduct proves who we truly are. Just meaning that we practice we personify what we teach by practicing what we preach. I'm not a loud, confrontational, or controversial individual. My conduct speaks for me, and it speaks very loud. Prior to moving here, I was appointed to a state committee by the North Carolina Speaker of the House, the previous Speaker of the House, Mr. Tim Moore. Most recently, I was appointed to the board of the Mental Health Association of South Mississippi. In the big scheme of things, I'm a drop in the bucket. I'm a guy that's made a lot of very bad choices in my life. I learned from it and I persevered. I'm here to share with you the gift that was given to me, and that's the gift of hope. My presentation, I've traveled throughout the country. I've given over 700 presentations in more than 600 different venues. What I cover, the topics are sexual trauma. I cover incarceration, substance use, and I also cover the suicide of my son, my 18-year-old son. I lost him to suicide in 2015. So, as I mentioned, guys, if I can be of any service to you in the community, I represent you at a very high level with an impactful presentation. When I choose serving you over me, I become free from my own mind by becoming the source that I seek. Again, thank you for your time and have a blessed night.
Thank you, sir. Bruce Spencer.
Good evening, Mayor, council members, and community leaders. My name is Dr. Bruce R. Spencer, known in the community as Coach Ghost. I'm here to represent the 29 Palms Warhawks Youth Co-Ed Tackle football program. Our mission is straightforward: to build discipline, confidence, and responsible young men and women right here in 29 Palms. Football is the platform, but the real work we do is developing character, teamwork, accountability, and community pride in our youth. Our season runs from July 6th through November 23rd, 2026, serving youth ages 4 through 13. We provide a safe, structured, and positive environment that keeps kids active, focused, and connected. We practice Monday through Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. 29 Palms Junior High School, and our home games are held at 29 Palms High School. We are now fully operating off base, which allows us to reach more families, but many still don't know the opportunity exists. We're asking for your support in helping us increase community awareness through city communication channels, community events, and partnerships. When families know what's available, more children can benefit. Participation in the Warhawks program is $205 per athlete, and the fees include a game jersey, game socks, and spirit gear. We work hard to keep costs low, but for some families, even the amount can be challenging. That's why community support, sponsorship, and donations are essential. They help ensure no child is turned away because of financial limitations. Recruitment, we're actively recruiting across all age groups throughout the season. Our goal is to reach every neighborhood, every school, and every family in 29 Palms. No child should miss the chance to be a part of a program that teaches discipline, teamwork, positive habits. With your help, we can expand outreach and make sure families know that resources is available for their child. Donations and sponsorship. Youth sports requires equipment, hydration, safety gear, and field support and equipment. We are asking the city to help us connect with local businesses, encourage sponsorship opportunities, support donation efforts, promote partnerships that strengthen the youth. Every contribution directly impacts the safety, development, and success of each student athlete. With our youth succeed, our city succeeds. With our youth feel supported, they grow into confident and product.
Thank you, sir.
Product activity.
Appreciate it.
So thank you.
Go Warhawks.
Yeah. Go Warhawks.
Cindy Bernard.
Sorry to be up here so much when it's so late. First of all, regarding the RFP thing. I mean, this isn't what I was going to talk about, but it wasn't about personal likes or dislikes. The city must develop an RFP process, please, so you can evaluate community partners, whether they be faith-based or secular. Right now, you have no process, and so you come into these things and it looks like it's just some personal choice. That's not what we want as a city. There has to be a process. And that maybe there's somebody outside of the Morongo Basin that would want to partner on something. You know, that's okay too. Anyway, as a member of the press, I want to address the city manager's comment on the costs of public information requests. Very often these costs are not due to the actions of the person making the request. They are due to internal issues when fulfilling the request. For instance, here are some of the things that I assume add additional costs, or the need for the request, like lack of transparency, unlike what just happened, where we had the city manager acting without council direction and a partner selected without a transparent process. That is going to cause a PIR request to figure out what happened there. Council members using city attorneys to fight SIPA requests. Council members refusing to supply requested materials from their phones, laptops, or written notes in their notebooks. Stone walked away with his notebook. No one stopped him. Missing information and gaps in what's been supplied. Lack of transparency in some council actions, including the refusal to answer questions from the press. Attorneys dissecting appropriate search terms as not being precise or making errors, like trying to dismiss a search is not possible when we've already been told that the documents from the search already exist. This actually just happened a month ago. That costs the city money. And then finally, council members illegally insisting that the staff restrict searches to keywords, which is not what SIPRA says. Those are all internal things that add to your cost. And it's not always the public's right to know. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay, Mark Van Horn.
I just literally Googled what day of these meetings and found out it's 6 o'clock. Oh, geez. So, sorry, I'm dressed this way and I just kind of scribbled some notes here.
That's fine.
Okay, so I've retired and moved to 29 Palms. My wife walks dogs at Palms and Paws literally 40 hours a week. I build sets for the theater. We've owned half a dozen rentals here for about 20 years, and we make them like we want to live in, with garage door openers and garbage disposals and dishwashers. So I care about this community, and it really pains me. I think it's great that everyone has all this churches and everything, but when I see another business failing, when I see Rite Aid going down to be turned into a church, I think, man, who's going to be paying the taxes around here? And I understand the complaints about the flock cameras, but again, it's a way to, within our budget, to do law enforcement, because it's not like we're going to be able to drive along the highway and catch speeders that way, you know, or put out manhunts. Somebody I saw online said we should have a police officer at Lear Avenue at the stop sign 24 hours a day to catch people. We just can't do that. I mean, they're talking about canceling Juneteenth next year because we don't have $1,000. So I would hope that you guys would try to get businesses here. I don't know if anyone reached out to when the Rite Aid chain went out of business and when it was announced that one of the other pharmacies, can't remember that one, was going to try to buy some of them. Did you guys say, hey, come here, buy this one? The only place where you can get ice cream for $1 instead of paying $10 over at Cold Stone. The only place where you have a drive-in pharmacy. The only place where you can buy hair dye for a woman, because Stater Brothers now only carries men's hair dye, which I think is ridiculous. I mean, you know, I try to get people from LA, my friends, to come visit, and they don't want to come here because, well, we don't even have a Denny's anymore. You know, the Ed Chada's after 40 years is out of business, and this is horrible. And now we hear about this open pit mine that they want to build up there. It's not bad enough that the casino, which was turned down by Joshua Tree, moved here and in a dark sky community, put up lights everywhere in the parking lot because, well, we're just stupid 29 Palms. We let anybody do what they want. You know, what they're going to do, an aquifer to the west of us and take water to feed Vegas. Oh, well, it's just good old 29 Palms. We need to be standing up for ourselves. We need to be promoting businesses and trying to help this community, because I'm really concerned about this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Scott Curry.
It's east. I can't follow that. I know where to buy men's hair dye now. That's fun. That's fun. This is a thank you to all of you. I see some of you routinely. My builder is just finishing the house, it's finished the house on Encilia, and you asked for customer response feedback. Outstanding service from Keith, Shelley, Cameron. Octavius, I see him the most, nothing against anybody else, but he's in the community, he engages, he promotes 29. That's what you're asking people to do, so great job. April, I know you've been in contact with some of my clients, very positive for the city to reach out, make it a positive experience. Because of building and planning, my builder bought another lot, comes all the way from east to San Diego. He says 29 Palms is a community of opportunity. And here's a guy that's built his first house in 29. Like me, I have typically older clients. He's 73. In case anybody has seen him build, he built the entire house by himself, 1,638 square feet. The only thing he's not allowed to build as a general contractor is the fire sprinklers and the solar. He had to farm that out. But I think I've said before, I think that one house has brought in probably $100,000 to the local community. Granted, a lot of that went to Home Depot out of 29 Palms. Ace doesn't have the supplies that they need in quantity and so forth, but lodging, food, gasoline, it brings, one house brings a lot of money into our 29 Palms community. So thank you for the great service. If you guys ever need a city spokesman, I would say Shelley's the one. I've asked my builder, I said, what's your response when you walk into building safety? He goes, she stands up and says, how are you, Steve? So kudos. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, that's all the slips I have. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, you had one too? Okay, come on up. You were probably down here at the bottom, sorry.
It's fine. I think that I wanted to say welcome to Ricky. Congratulations on sobriety. And also.
Yeah, go to the mic, Leslie, sorry, so they can be
Oh, I'm
recording.
Anyway, so I miss Ricky. I wanted to welcome him to the community. Congratulations on his sobriety, and so sorry about the loss of his son. Other new members that want to start speaking up, oh, we got to all take it down a notch. You're so enthusiastic like I was when I first got here. And I'm glad you've been here. I want to say thank you very much. I think this is a really, really good council coming together. I feel you guys like kind of grinding it out, and some of us know that there's like inner work. I want to interrupt myself before I forget. I want to tell Vino that I'm thinking of him every moment. Okay, that's really important. We need to like really send all of our messages to him. Okay. Okay, he'll be back soon, I'm sure. Back to everything else. So you guys are grinding it out really well. It's kind of ugly sometimes. And yet now, with elections coming, I can see we're making some progress. And I think this is a good way that you're going. I'm really happy about it. I want to thank you all. I am going to give Cindy a notice. I am going to ask for a complete list of all the residential property that we own, any tenant agreements, and also all the commercial properties. That's going to be your next week's burden. But I do want to tell you thank you very much. I think it's really cool where we're going. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay, anybody else that I missed on the slip? Okay. All right, we're going to adjourn this meeting. We'll have no meeting August 11th. We'll adjourn this meeting to August 25th at 6 p.m. I don't hit the gavel on this one, right? I don't hit the gavel, huh? Because we